I need to pull up your spreadsheet too. Oh man, what's up, man? How you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. How about yourself, man?
Oh, I'm just having a rough start to my morning. It is what it is. We podcast last night until 2 a.m. So yeah, we went. We started at like 10 o'clock and went all the way to 2 a.m. So 4 hours with a straight podcast, but it was a lot of fun. We had a blast with it. So yeah, I'm looking over your injury report right for week 4, and yeah, let's go ahead and dive into it. Go ahead and let everybody know where to find you real quick, and you know why they should listen to you.
Sweet. Yeah. So you guys can find me on Twitter at @TheRealAdamH. That's my Twitter handle. Any of my injury content information you can find on theadroppables.com. That's mainly who I write for injury analysis. I'm a doctor of physical therapy, so I do this stuff by day, and then a fantasy football enthusiast by night. So that's kind of where all this stuff comes from, and where I can help you out with some of these injuries.
I love it, man. I love it. So let's dive into it. The first name you have up there is Michael Thomas. Obviously, he's going to be out. I mean, I don't know if it was obvious because he was questionable, right?
Yeah, I think he's really close. I think he could come back next week. This is kind of what I expected with Michael Thomas when they didn't put him on IR. So I think he's about a week away, but yeah, he's not playing this week.
If he does come back in next week, are you playing him at all?
Yeah, I think you have to, especially, given what Michael Thomas probably means to your fantasy football team. I would definitely manage your expectations. You know what I mean? If I'm playing Michael Thomas, I might, in my wide receiver 2 position, try to supplement someone that has a high floor, just because I think with Michael Thomas that floor that you've been used to is not necessarily going to be there the first couple of weeks. But yeah, I would play him.
I like that. All right, so. Oh, man, we're already getting the start and sit questions roll in. We are going to cover your start and sit questions, guys. We definitely are, but I want to get this injury report out of the way for people that need to get people out of their lineups.
For sure.
So Jared Cook's out, Chris Godwin's out, Leonard Fournette's out, Alshon Jeffrey, Raheem Mostert, Jimmy Garoppolo, Sean Jackson, Cam Akers, Mike Williams, Michael Pittman. All right, let's go with the questionable ones. All right, okay. You can start this out. I'm going to go grab a beer out of the freezer because I didn't put it in the fridge yet. So go ahead and start out with DeAndre Hopkins over there.
Yep. So for those of you that know, DeAndre Hopkins is going to play this week. He had an ankle injury, didn't get in any practices all week, which made me a little bit nervous and skeptical about whether he was going to be able to play, but it sounds like he is going to suit up. I think if you have DeAndre Hopkins, you're obviously using him. Christian Kirk, on the other hand, had a groin injury. He is expected to play. I'm less confident in Christian Kirk just based on not only the injury, a groin injury that can flare up, but Christian Kirk's production's been pretty underwhelming thus far in the season. So if you are still rostering him in any leagues, I wouldn't play him. The big one that I'm getting a lot of questions about and a lot of people are asking about is Joe Mixon, obviously, right? With this chest injury.
Yeah, what's going on with that?
Yeah, it's a little bit vague. I don't know exactly what's going on. A chest injury could be, a multitude of things. It could be a rib injury. It could be, is he having chest pains? Is it a pec injury? Is it muscular? We don't really know that. So I went and looked, and there was a report out there that Joe Mixon's current game streak was 31 games, and it sounds like he's going to add another game to that 32. So Joe Mixon's been pretty darn reliable when he's been playing. So let's just talk about it strictly from an injury perspective here. When we look at Joe Mixon, like that's a great sample size of games that he's been out there. I went back and looked in 2018. Dude tore his meniscus, played the entire second half of a football game with a torn meniscus, had surgery on it, and was back in 2 weeks. That is an expected timeline for scope. It's usually 2 to 4 weeks for a meniscus tear, but I can't stress like this enough. Usually that I see it on the latter end. Usually that's a 4-week injury for Joe Mixon. So he's been incredibly durable. And then when we're talking about Joe Mixon, people are like, okay, now he's got this injury. Joe Mixon's been terrible for me. So let's talk about it strictly from a fantasy football perspective. Shout out to my boy Tommy Moe, who pulled up a tweet from John Dangle that talked about only 8 running backs this year have a greater than 80% snap share workload. Okay. These guys are Zeke, James Robinson, Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, David Johnson, Miles Sanders, and Joe Mixon is on that list. Okay. You do not see a lot of running backs that are getting that constant workload. Joe Mixon has a great matchup this week. He typically gets off to a slow start. Shout out to someone else I know, Josh Larkey, who projected looking at Joe Mixon's first 8 games last year, averaged around 10 PPR fantasy points. Last 8 games last year, averaged around 18 PPR fantasy points. So I think with Joe Mixon, if you drafted him, you had to get him in the first round or at least at that turn. This is not the game to sit Joe Mixon, even with that injury. He's got a great matchup against Jacksonville. I'm playing Joe Mixon. This is if you drafted Joe Mixon and you've had those 3 stinker weeks, this is not the week to bench him because this is the week that he could pop off. If you have him, you got to use him. I'm using him. Not even double thinking it. You got to play Joe Mixon.
All right, let's run through these next ones so that way we can actually get to these starter sit questions.
Yep. So Chris Carson, everyone saw that knee injury by now. He's playing. Terry McLaurin, he's playing. If you have those guys, I'm starting them. I haven't seen anything recently on Davante Adams. He's had a hamstring. He's expected to a hamstring injury is expected to play. So I would feel optimistic about Davante Adams if I had him. John Brown calf injury expected to play. I feel pretty confident that he is going to play. So if you're looking for a deeper league flex option, wide receiver 3, I think you can play John Brown. Zach Moss, turf toe. This one's truly questionable. Yeah, this one's truly questionable. I think he's probably a week away based on the injury timeline. So I would maybe hold off on Zach Moss, even if he's active. I'm not playing Zach Moss this week. Calvin Ridley, ankle injury expected to play. I would play him. And then I think the other one was Julio Jones. Julio Jones with a hamstring injury. I think he's expected to play, and I would play him as well.
All right. That works. Did we have anybody else on there? Henry Ruggs.
Yeah.
He's going to miss some time, right?
Yeah. I think he's doubtful at this point. I would not be playing Henry Ruggs, and I don't expect him to play. And then Kareem Hunt with a groin injury. I think we missed him. He is playing this week, and I would play Kareem Hunt. Yeah,
it's a good matchup for him up against the Cowboys this week. All right, so we got Deebo Samuel. He's going to be in, right? They activated him, but they might work him in, right?
Yeah. And I pulled up some numbers because I've used this projection sometimes. It's a different injury, different situation, different players. But when we looked at Hollywood Brown that had a foot injury last year, when he came back, we saw the Ravens kind of ease his snap count up. So it went from 18%, 65%, 75%, 80% snap count. That 80% threshold is usually where I feel comfortable playing a wide receiver because that's a good amount of volume. So I would wait and see with Deebo. I'm going to watch him closely tonight and see what he looks like running on that foot. But he's definitely a player to wait and see.
Okay. What about TJ Hawkinson?
Yeah. So a question I've been getting about TJ Hawkinson is he had that ankle injury. It was a little bit vague in terms of what was going on with him. People were worried about his usage. I think when I looked at TJ Hawkinson's snap trend, we've seen it steadily increase from week 1 to week 3. Lions are getting more comfortable using him. 63% in week 1, 70% in week 2, 83% in week 3. I'm still playing TJ Hawkinson. Yeah, I'm still playing TJ Hawkinson. This could be a big week for him.
Oh my God, this could be the sexiest week ever for TJ Hawkinson. I'm huge on TJ Hawkinson this week.
Love it.
All right, Noah Fant.
Noah Fant. So these are some injuries from Thursday's game. I was telling some people it might not be a bad idea if your waiver wire is still open, you can add people. I'd be grabbing a tight end right now. I think Noah Fant dodged a major injury based on what I saw in the video. I don't think it was a turf toe injury. I don't think it was a high ankle sprain. I think it was a low lateral ankle sprain, pretty common, 2 to 4 week timeline, but I'd still grab a tight end if a Mo Alley Cox is out there, if a Dalton Schultz is out there, if a Logan Thomas is out there. I'd be grabbing those guys and stashing them on my bench instead of trying to compete with people in the waiver wire, especially because this is a key point too. TJ Hawkinson, Lions are on a bye next week. Okay, so you're going to have teams that are going to be looking to add a tight end off the waiver wire. I don't think you're going to have Noah Fant next week. So if you have Noah Fant on your team, I would try to cut somebody and grab a tight end so you don't have to compete on that waiver wire or spend any fab money.
I love that. Love that. All right, last one. We're going to dive into these starter sit questions, guys. Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold, injured his shoulder on Thursday night, exited the game, but then came back.
Yeah, he
It
looked
looked
fine.
like to me, it looked like to me that he had an AC joint sprain. I think probably what happened, went back in the locker room, got some steroid injection, some cortisone, made him feel a little bit better. I still think Sam Darnold could miss some time. So some of those 2 QB leagues, super flex leagues, I wouldn't be surprised if, especially after that Thursday night game, Friday, yesterday, today, Sam Darnold dealing with some shoulder inflammation. You might not have Sam Darnold next week. So just a heads up with that.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's actually surprising. That's news to me. All right, guys. So we're going to dive into the starter sit. I'm going to start all the way up at the top, and we're going to work our way down. Include PPR. Or we're going to assume it's PPR if you don't include non-PPR. I'll put it that way. If you guys want to include upside and floor, like if you went up against Tim Patrick maybe or something like that on Thursday night, we appreciate the floor versus upside type outlook. It makes it a little bit easier for us. So let's go ahead and dive into this. Woo! I'm ready for football. I don't know about you, but I'm ready for football.
Man, I'm pumped.
All right, John asks, 0.5 PPR, Ingram or Jeff Wilson? Ingram's up against Washington. Jeff Wilson is up against the Eagles. I'm going Ingram on this one because the Eagles front seven is tough to run against. I've seen them now week after week after week being a very, very tough defense to run against. I don't trust Jeff Wilson at all. I like Ingram a lot up against Washington. Both Chase Young and Matt Ioannidis are both out. That weakens this front seven for the Washington football team significantly. I'm going to go with Ingram.
I agree. Looking at I know I'm throwing a lot of snap counts at people here, but looking at Jeff Wilson's snap count, he only played 28% of the snaps last week. That's going to be him. Yeah, and that's not sustainable to score 2 touchdowns off of that low snap share. So I know people are frustrated with Ingram. I think if you got him, you got to still keep trucking him out there. He's got a good matchup with Washington.
You know what's funny? Every week last year in 2019 that Jeff Wilson played over 20% of the snap count, he had 2 touchdowns.
That's wild.
Every time that he played over 20%, he had 2 touchdowns last year. That's Jeff Wilson's role. He's there to be that goal line back. He's there to get the ball into the end zone. However, I just don't see it happening, as often with Nick Mullins at quarterback. With this defense, being a lot tougher up against the Eagles. I could see him having 1 touchdown, but back over this question, I think Ingram could absolutely eat up against Washington. It is close because he's going to get goal line carries, but I like Ingram. Yep. All right, PPR flex. Renfrow or Jeff Wilson Jr.? No, we're going to have a lot of Jeff Wilson questions.
We got a lot of Jeff Wilson, yeah.
I'm going Renfrow. Renfrow's going to eat this week.
Yeah, Renfrow's an auto start for me. If you've got Hunter Renfrow, I don't think that Brian Edwards is going to play. I don't think Henry Ruggs is going to play. Besides Darren Waller, Renfrow is going to be the guy. Play him.
I completely agree.
Especially in PPR.
Okay. All right. Kansas City, New England officially going tomorrow. Start Kelsey or just roll bottom of the barrel Jimmy Graham? Ooh, that's tough. So a lot of these leagues, man, they have like settings set up. So you should probably check with your commissioner and see if they're going to do it. But like for my leagues that I'm commissioning, I'm saying, hey, you can either start this guy, right? Like if you start this guy, you can also start this guy if New England gets postponed. But you have to predetermine who that player is, and they have to be on your roster. So, for example, you start Kelsey, but if Kelsey doesn't play, then I can go in as a commissioner and plug in the other guy, but it's predetermined. Jimmy Graham actually is leading the league in red zone, targets or targets inside the 5. I think it's actually both. I think it's red zone targets and targets inside the 5 for tight ends. So, although I would say I feel good starting Kelsey, I mean, Jimmy Graham's not a bad option. I would feel good about starting Jimmy Graham, to be honest with you.
So I'm going to go the other way, and to comment on that, you're a much nicer commissioner than I am. I'm commissioner for a couple leagues, and honestly, I've got a lot of stuff, and I know there's some leagues where they're just like, hey, we're just going to let it ride, and you got to take that risk. I think there's a decent chance that the Kansas City game gets played. If I was in that situation, I'm not as big on Jimmy Graham as you are, being a Bears fan. I feel like last week was fool's gold. If I have Kelsey, that's a high enough tight end for me that I'm just going to – if this guy can't have that the backup scenario like you were talking about, I'm still playing Kelsey.
All right, I like it. Over there with Kyler and Jared Goff. Kyler's gonna smash faces this week. There's a good chance that they go up against Carolina, and obviously Jared Goff has the Giants, but I think I'm sticking with Kyler. I think that they could run the ball a lot more often. The Rams want to be a running team. I'm going Kyler over Goff.
Yeah, no, I like all those points, and I like the fact that Kyler is more of a mobile quarterback that can get you some of those rushing yards. So I'd be playing Kyler too.
I like it. All right, lock it. Ridley, Anderson, Gage, Hopkins. Choose two.
I'm going Hopkins. Ooh.
Let's go ahead and throw out Gage and Anderson, right?
Yeah.
It's between Lockett and Ridley. I'm going to go Lockett, but I don't blame you going Ridley because the Atlanta Falcons probably going to have to pass up against Green Bay. And Lockett might not get the volume up against Miami. Yeah, it's Miami. Pretty sure it's Miami.
Yeah.
I am going to go Lockett just because he's a little safer. But if you need ceiling, I'd go Ridley.
Yeah, I might go Hopkins and Ridley on this one.
Hopkins and Ridley. Yeah, I mean, Lock and Ridley for me are like back-to-back this week.
Yeah,
they're both top 15 options, I'm pretty sure. All right, on to Chris Carson or Joe Mixon. Both of them are dealing with injuries. That's a you question. I'm going to let you take this.
Well, we might disagree on this because I know you're not as high on Joe Mixon as I am. I'm playing Joe Mixon. This is a great matchup. I don't know how the Seattle game's going to go, but, let's say Seattle's up 30 points in the second half, and I know they're going to run the ball, but if Chris Carson's kind of got a lingering injury, could you just see them saying, like, I think they activated DJ Dallas today. Could you just see him being like, yo, let's see what we got in DJ Dallas and let him run a little bit in the second half and sit Chris Carson? I think it's it's a possible scenario. I don't know how likely it is, but it's possible. So I'm still going Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon's my guy this week.
God, I love Chris Carson this week too. But you made a good point. I'll go Joe Mixon, but I still like Chris Carson. I think it's a win-win situation over there. Mm-hmm. All right. Upside. He needs ups. Thank you for clarifying that you need upside. Non-PPR. So Renfro's value just completely shits the bed. Meanwhile, oh man, Shark is the complete upside type play, right? That's what you look for. But the Bengals have actually been really, really good up against wide receivers so far this year. That's tough. That's kind of like a lose-lose situation because it's not PPR. I'm gonna go Shark if you need upside.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm gonna go here. This is like the opposite. Upside and Renfro don't go together. I think Renfro can see a ton of volume this week against the Bills. They're gonna need to throw the ball. Chark, he's got this back injury that, again, I don't know exactly what it is, but I think it's affecting him in some way. He didn't play last week. I'd like to see what he looks like. He hasn't looked really like the same player that we thought we were getting based on what we saw in 2019. I'm going Renfro here. I'm going Renfro.
Oh man, so we're split on that one. I got to take Shark. I really do. All right, up next. Let me see. Hold on. I was on the wrong screen for a second. All right, we got McLaurin or Devontae Parker. Oh man, I hate this matchup with McLaurin. I hate it. I love this matchup with Devontae Parker. It's not even a question for me. I'm going Parker.
Oh man, we are just disagreeing. We are not helping these people today. I'm going to go
Baltimore.
I know. I think we've seen McLaurin's floor, and I'm okay with it. Like McLaurin's floor is 6 catches for 60 to 70 yards. That's his floor. And PPR, and you're going to get more upside. Devontae Parker, another week removed from that hamstring injury. We could see him be a little bit better. I know the Dolphins have a really good matchup.
That's the best matchup of the whole weekend.
Yeah, I know. Oh man, you might have talked me into Devontae.
Come on, it's Devontae Parker. It has to be. Come on.
I'll let you talk me into that one. You talked me into that. Devontae Parker.
I have no idea who this was.
We don't.
Guys, if you guys have to, or if you guys are on Facebook, you actually have to go on to StreamYard and get your Facebook approved to have your Facebook pop up because Facebook's a bunch of dicks. All right, PPR, MVS against Atlanta or Higgins against Jacksonville?
I'm going to go MVS. Allen Lazard's out for the year with a core injury. Aaron Rodgers is on a tear this year. Atlanta's defense can't stop anybody. I know we saw a big week from T. Higgins, but sometimes with those rookies, you see those pop-off weeks, and then they kind of drop back down and disappear. With a rookie wide receiver, I'm a little bit hesitant just rolling him out there based on what we saw. I would go MVS against Atlanta.
Yeah, plus Jacksonville has that rookie Henderson, who's actually been really good up against the outside receivers. Whether he sees, Green versus Higgins is kind of questionable, but I like MVS up against Atlanta. I think it's a sexy, sexy pick. It was Axel what's Axel? Why don't you get your Facebook approved, man? You're on enough of our shows, and I can't believe you didn't ask if I was wearing pants or not, because I'm not. But, oh man. So I don't remember what it was we dealt. Anyways. So wait, where was I? Oh, I wanted to go with another question over here that I got on Facebook. Mo Alley Cox or Jimmy Graham? Mo Alley Cox or Jimmy Graham non-PPR? I'm going Mo Alley Cox on this one.
I am too. I'm a teeny bit nervous about Mo Alley Cox because I saw the Colts just activated Trey Burton off of IR. I don't know how much he's going to play. I wouldn't expect it to be a lot, considering this is his first week off from IR. Mo Alley Cox has got me excited, though. I like what I've seen so far. So I would go Mo Alley Cox as well.
So, yeah, Mo Alley Cox is a different tight end. So Trey Burton's a move tight end. Mo Alley Cox is an inline tight end who's used for blocking and stuff, which is why he's gotten matched up with a lot of linebackers and smaller safeties. So I don't think Trey Burton, even if he is activated, actually takes away from the snap count of Mo Alley Cox. He's going to be used more as like a Y than he is the actual, tight end position. He's a small tight end. So I like Mo Alley Cox to actually be the guy this week. All right, we got Singletary or Lamb. Singletary or Lamb. This is a good one because Singletary has a great matchup. Meanwhile, Lamb does too. My concern is actually that the Browns, how they're going to organize this secondary. Did you hear anything about Denzel Ward? Denzel Ward's out, right?
No, he's in. And I expect him to stay. Yeah, he's in. And I expect him to be on Amari Cooper mostly. Okay. So Denzel Ward, has been the number one corner against fantasy wide receivers. He's been a shutdown corner. Yeah. So if you think about him taking Amari Cooper out of there, I think Gallup and Lamb are sneaky plays. If you want upside, man, I don't think it gets higher than with CeeDee Lamb. Like CeeDee Lamb could explode this week against the Browns. You could see him score multiple touchdowns. It depends, I guess, what you're looking for. I like what you said about Singletary having a nice matchup and a safer floor, but I'm a big CeeDee Lamb guy. I'm a huge CeeDee Lamb guy.
Except against the Raiders. The Raiders are ranked last, I think, up against the running backs for fantasy football. So that's close. I mean, that's a win-win situation once again. I'll probably go Lamb over Singletary because Singletary doesn't see red zone carries. But yeah, I'll take CeeDee Lamb, and I think Singletary is still a good play, by the way. All right, Swift or Thompson? Oh, Swift for sure.
Yeah.
He has a great matchup up against the Saints this week. They have half their defense out. And Swift could see, some targets that could actually have upside. Meanwhile, I don't even know Thompson's snap count hasn't been good.
No. And either Swift's operating third behind Adrian Peterson and Kerryon Johnson, if you can believe that, based on last week's workload that they got.
I think that was a freak thing because Swift before that was leading the team in touches, for any player outside of the quarterback.
Yeah. I'm playing Swift because I think he has a higher upside. I don't think Thompson really is giving you a whole lot at this point, but Swift, I think it's still going to be a while. It's a mess in Detroit. I don't like the way they're using him. He only played 9% of snaps last week.
Yeah, he only played 6 snaps compared to Adrian Peterson's 40 and Kerryon Johnson's 20. But prior to that, he was leading the team in snaps by far. It wasn't even close. He had, 15 more snaps than Adrian Peterson and 15 more snaps than Kerryon Johnson. So this past week, I don't know what happened. I don't know if he missed a blocking assignment. I don't know if he fucked up in practice. But Swift wasn't in there this past week for whatever reason, which kind of pissed me off a little bit. But up against New Orleans, we could see a redemption type week. So I like Swift this week. I really do. That makes me nervous to say. I'm going Swift over Thompson. All right. Should he chance with Patrick Mahomes play on Monday or just start Fitzpatrick? I love Fitzpatrick this week, to be honest with you. If you think that you don't need if you think that you will probably or most likely win this week with Fitzpatrick in your lineup, then I would just go ahead and play it safe. That way you don't have to deal with the repercussions of not starting somebody. Fitzpatrick up against the Seattle Seahawks should at least have 3 touchdowns and probably 3 interceptions too, but at least 3 touchdowns.
Yep. With some of these guys, it's tough because, like, especially the Chiefs, those are all high-profile guys where I would chance it. Like, I'm going to chance it with Mahomes. I'm going to chance it with Tyreek Hill, Kelsey, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Those are, big fantasy studs. Fitzpatrick's not a bad matchup, but like you said, it kind of depends on what you're looking for.
All right, what about New England's defense? I have them. They can't play them. Who should they pick up?
Well, I think you still can play them because they're going to play Monday.
If they do play. But up against, oh my God.
Oh, against Kansas City? Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it depends on who's out there on your waiver wire for defenses. Some sneaky ones that I like this week that I'm using in DFS are the Lions against New Orleans. New Orleans is banged up. And then another sneaky one that's probably available out there is the Texans. Kirk Cousins has turned over the ball a ton. I think he's like second in the league in terms of interceptions and fumbles that he's generated thus far. So those are ones that I know are going to be available in your league. It just kind of depends on who else is out there.
The real answer is Cincinnati. If Cincinnati's out there, I think they're like rostered in like 5% of leagues right now. Cincinnati is absolutely smash play up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Gardner Minshew has like 14 interceptable passes so far this year. So it's, I think Cincinnati is going to be a smash play. And like I said, their secondary has actually been really good up against the wide receivers. I'm expecting a big game out of James Robinson, but I think you can still get a couple interceptions with Cincinnati this week. I think it's going to be a very low scoring game, to be honest.
Yeah.
All right. Devontae Adams, Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, all question marks for Monday's game. I've Vald Scant engaged to fill in. Do I take the risk on the third receiver or sit one and start Boyd and Devontae Parker? I like both of those options with Devontae Parker and Tyler Boyd, to be honest with you.
Yeah. If you wanted to play it safe, like you could just plug in Boyd and Parker and then wait till the last minute and see who's actually playing with Devontae Adams, Julio Jones, and Ridley and play one of them. If you really wanted to play it safe.
Are those 4:00 games? All those? No, they're one.
I think the Packers play on Monday. Right.
Yeah, they want 1:00 games for the Bengals and Jaguars.
Okay,
I think you're fine going Tyler Boyd and Devontae Parker, to be honest with you. If you need to play it safe, I would go that route. All right. Pick 3. Thielen, Tyreek Hill, Metcalf, and Galladay.
Whew.
Man, how'd you get that loaded? Zero running back strategy in the draft, I'm guessing?
Shit, maybe.
So I would go Galladay for sure. Galladay's a lock for me in every single lineup. Metcalf is locked for me in every single lineup.
Mm-hmm.
Thielen or Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill's risky because he might not play. Tomorrow night we still don't know what's going on. Meanwhile, Thielen has a really good matchup, don't they? Up against the Colts? No, who do they play? I've actually been really good at this so far, and I messed up on that one. Texans. Oh yeah, sexy matchup up against Texans. I knew it was a good matchup. I think I'm going to go Thielen over Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is still boom or bust. Like over the past 2 years, he's only finished as a wide receiver, or he's only finished with double-digit points, I think, in like 50% of his matchups. So I like Thielen in this one.
I do too. Especially if you were talking about not wanting to risk it, I would play Thielen. I think people are worried about him because that big game Justin Jefferson had last week, but I bet Thielen bounces back. I got a good feeling about Thielen.
All right, McLaurin or MVS?
McLaurin.
Slightly McLaurin for me, but they're very close. All right, I said play Austin Eckler against Tampa Bay. Should I play? Oh, no. So he is not playable this week. Myles Gaskin is not playable this week. Seattle has been extremely dominant up against the running back position. I believe they're number 1 up against the running back as a whole. And, you see a whole lot of passing yards, right? So, a lot of people will sit there and be like, hey, if you can't run on them, you can at least get some receiving work, right? No. Last week, they allowed 7 catches to Ezekiel Elliott for like 11 yards on like 9 targets or something. Like they are ridiculously good up against the running back for whatever reason. I'm not playing any running back up against Seattle until they prove different.
Fair enough.
Yeah, Austin Eckler for sure. All right. God, this chat is jumping. It's jumping. All right. Should I play Ingram, McKinnon over Henderson, or should I play one of them in the flex? Right now I have Diggs in the flex. Diggs in the flex.
I'm going no on all accounts.
Yes. I like Diggs and Henderson. I think you made the right choice here.
Yeah.
All right. Start John Brown or Las Vegas, or versus Las Vegas. Yeah. Or Evan Ingram versus the Rams. Ooh, I like Evan Ingram, I think. But John Brown's not a bad play. I just like Evan Ingram in this case.
Yeah, I'm probably the wrong person to ask. I've been down on Evan Ingram, and I've been down on him all offseason based on what I've seen on, recovery times for Liz Frank injuries, which is what Evan Ingram's been dealing with. He hasn't really had the production there. We expected his production to drop off, and it's dropped off more than I thought it would. On a point basis, he's performing under 50% of what he normally does. John Brown's going to play this game against Las Vegas. I'm pretty confident about that big playability. I'm going to go John Brown.
I like it. Kim, real quick. I didn't get your question for that. So if you could put that question back in again, I missed it. So follow up.
About New England.
Yeah. Guys, if you're on Facebook and you want your face to pop up, you actually have to go in and get it approved through StreamYard. I'm not exactly sure how. Just Google, get approved through StreamYard. Get your Facebook approved through StreamYard. So, anyways, Indiana, or I'm guessing Indianapolis. Denver, Detroit, Cincinnati available. I really like the Colts up against the Bears. I think they could have a big week, but I think that's very risky too. So if you need like high upside, you need a big boom week from a defense. Indianapolis is a good play, but I'm taking Cincinnati over all these guys. And Denver already played, so I think that they're probably out.
Yep.
All right, Kittle, Galladay, Boyd, or OBJ, bench 1, PPR. I like all these. I'm going to go Boyd, though. I think OBJ has a huge week up against the Cowboys this week.
I might bench Kittle just because I don't know what he's going to be like coming off of that injury. Bone bruise. Might ease him back in, similar to Debo. So I would play the healthy guys that I know are going to play or aren't coming in with an injury right now.
Actually, that's not bad. That's not a bad opinion over there. I know I brought you in for a reason. All right. No, I agree there. You might want to go the safer route to make sure that you actually get the volume. But if you need upside, I think I'd go Kittle over Boyd. It's pretty close. Oh, yeah. All right, Boyd or Robbie Anderson. Robbie Anderson could have a big week, but they do face the Cardinals, who are actually really good up against wide receivers somehow. I think that DJ Moore is going to see a lot of coverage from Patrick Peterson. Meanwhile, Robbie Anderson's going to be on the weak side, and Robbie Anderson's kind of it's weird, man. It's weird. Like, so I was sitting there and I was watching some of the game film, and they were using DJ Moore as like a stretch role and Robbie Anderson as like the DJ Moore role. I didn't understand that. It's like, wait, why is DJ Moore running all these go routes? Meanwhile, Robbie Anderson's running underneath. And it might be because that's the way that the defenses are preparing for him. And of course, over there with Joe Brady, he's very good at disguising, his wide receiver routes. So, he's playing it extremely smart. He's playing it very, very, very sneaky, very, very sneaky. So I'm going to go Tyler Boyd on this one.
Yeah, I am going to go Tyler Boyd as well. I think the DJ Moore week is coming soon. He's too good for it not to be coming. Patrick Peterson's coverage rating on Player Profiler is outside the top 30, so he's not as great as we think he's been. He's kind of on the back half of his career, I think. So I'd play Tyler Boyd.
All right, let's take it. All right, Jacob. This doesn't have to be your last one, man. It's cool. It's cool. I think we already know your answer is going to be Joe Mixon, right? You love Joe Mixon.
It's not even close. It's not even close.
Yeah, it's not close for me either. I think Mixon is a smash play.
Yep.
All right. McKinnon, Hunt, Carson, David Johnson. I love David Johnson's matchup up against Minnesota. That he's going to eat this week, in my opinion. He's going to get work in the receiving game. He's going to get work in the running game. He's going to be that guy over there. So David Johnson for me is a lock in this one. Okay. Now Hunt is interesting because he plays the Cowboys and could see the receiving work. McKinnon has a really tough matchup up against the Eagles, but should be that back, in the backfield. Carson, meanwhile, is coming off the injury. So I'm kind of leaning Hunt in this scenario if you need upside, but I'm leaning Carson on the floor.
So I agree. I'm going to throw some crazy stats at you. I did not come up with them, but I think that they're relevant. On a per game basis, Chubb's averaging 18 touches a game. Kareem Hunt's averaging 16 touches a game. Scott Barrett from Fantasy Points talked about how receiving targets are 2.5 times more valuable in fantasy production for running backs. Kareem Hunt is getting all the receiving down work there. He's a great play if he's getting 16 touches a game. So I'd play Kareem Hunt, especially in this matchup against the Cowboys where they might be playing catch up.
I love Kareem Hunt's matchup. I like Carson still scares me a little. I think I might go floor. I mean, I think I might go Hunt for both floor and ceiling. Oh man, we're not stopping nowhere. I hopped onto the XFL last year. Okay, I will find out a way to talk football no matter what happens. All right, we're gonna keep this shit going. All right, this group chat is just nonstop today. Nonstop.
Let's do it.
All right, PPR: Boyd, Parker, or Lamb.
Ooh.
Oh God, this is tough. I think you're looking at positive no matter which way you go. I don't think you can go wrong. But I think I might go Parker then Lamb then Boyd.
I would go Lamb, Boyd, Parker. I was just looking at my thing. It doesn't apply to this, but like in DFS, I got a lot of lineups with CD Lamb this week. I just really like him this week. We talked about Denzel Ward shifting to Amari Cooper. That kind of might remove him from the game. I think CD Lamb might have a big week this week.
Yeah, he could have his first touchdown. Like I said, I mean, Seattle's matchup is just too juicy for me to sit there and turn down. But I still love Lamb. Like I said, I love Lamb. I think that no matter which way you go.
Did you say you love Lamp?
I love Lamp.
What's that? What's that? Is that an Anchorman reference?
Anchorman.
Hey-yo.
All right. Pick 3. Julio, Fuller, Hollywood Brown, Shark, or Gage. Why do people do this to me? Why do they do this to me?
These are tough, man. These are tough.
All right. I like Hollywood Brown. I think that Lamar Jackson could see plenty of time to pass up against Washington, who, we talked about earlier. Matt Ioannidis is out. Chase Young is out. So Hollywood Brown could see the upside, and be able to actually get downfield. I really love Fuller this week up against Minnesota's porous defense. They got a bunch of rookies and players back there. It's constantly fluctuating because people are getting, pulled out, pulled in, injured, whatever the case is. Julio Jones up against Green Bay, I think is a lock too. Those are probably the 3 that I'm going with over Shark or Gage.
Yep, totally agree. If you drafted Hollywood Brown, it's been frustrating, but the second you bench him, he's going to pop off. You got to just keep plugging him in there.
He had over 100 yards like a week or 2 ago, or maybe 3 weeks ago. He had 100 yards at least one of these weeks. All right, I think it was 105 yards actually. You waiting a week to start Debo to see how the foot is? Yes, I am for sure.
100%.
Not even a question.
I might even wait 2 weeks. If I'm being honest.
Well, yeah, if he doesn't go off this week, I'll wait 2 weeks. But if he goes off, I'll consider playing him next week. I didn't see the matchups yet for week 5, but do I play Mahomes and Tyreek Hill? Depends on who else you have. Sure.
I would. I'd risk it. Those are studs.
All right. Gage, MVS, and T.Y. Hilton. Need one. I like T.Y. Hilton up against Chicago this week. He's going to be in the slot, I believe. They're going to work him back into the slot. Yep. I'm taking T.Y. Hilton. Traquan Smith or John Brown? I'm locking in Traquan Smith.
I'm going Smokey. I think he's going to play. I'm confident he's going to play, and I like him.
Up against the Raiders, though, they're actually kind of good up against the wide receivers, aren't they? Yeah.
That might more affect Diggs. I think adding Diggs to Buffalo is gonna help out John Brown a lot, draw some attention away, and the big plays are always coming with John Brown. All
right, I'll take that. But I'm still going with Traquan Smith. Number one option, that offense in a game that I expect to be high scoring. I'll take it. You can work off that. That's the whole point of it. So when I first started this live starter sit, I committed to a bunch of people saying, "Hey, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there." Yes. By the way, oh shit, did I not post them? Oh fuck me! I gotta hop off. I gotta go post my lineups. I didn't do it. Sorry guys. I'm gonna hop on right now to post my lineups.
Good luck to everybody.
Good luck to everybody. Bye.